Today, we are going to be doing a challenge where we're going to be drafting only players in alphabetical order. I'm going to go into more detail as the draft goes on, but I saw what better team to use than the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, they can never win to save their lives, so why not use them? And now here we are at the draft randomized order. I'm going to randomize it 3 times, and let's see what we get. So 1, 2, and 3, we are going to be picking 25th. Not great. It doesn't really matter too much, though, because I think the best player with the last name starting with a letter A, which is how we're going to be doing this, is Sebastian Aho. So hopefully he did not go, and I'm going to run through it right now. And hold up, Matvey Michkov goes before Elias Pettersson and other big greats. I'm not sure what's up with it. And Connor Bedard before Matthews. Dude, what is this game? Regardless, I don't see Aho, so we should be good to take him with our first pick. And by the way, St. Louis got Connor McDavid. So yeah, thank goodness Sebastian Aho is available. But I'm just going to go scroll through here real quick to see if there's any better A's. Rasmus Anderson is there, but obviously Sebastian Aho is the pick. Without a doubt, Aho will be our number 1 center. And now with our second pick, moving on, we're going to be going to B. So hopefully this is starting to make a bit more sense. Sergei Bobrovsky is actually available here, but that cap is just too high. And Matthew Barzal is available as well, so he's a no-brainer pick. While his salary is up there too, it's very important to get a lot of good centers right away in the draft. And with that, like I said, now we have 2 centers, so I think it's crucial to pick a D, and John Carlson's available, so that's just great. Going into this, I really didn't know how it was going to go. I thought we would be pretty bad, probably one of the worst teams in the league, but based off the start, we're actually not terrible. Now, going on to our 4th pick in D, Vince Dunn would actually be available, and he would be a lefty, so we could pair him with John Carlson, but then I saw Thatcher Demko is available, so how would I not take him? But I'm praying like a guy like Georgiev will be available by the time we get to G, so I picked Vince Dunn. I couldn't really find anybody with the last name E. I didn't think there was any until I stumbled on Matthias Ekholm, so this is just going to help out our D-core tremendously. I know we need wingers and goaltenders right now, but Gustav Forsling is available, so why not take him? Next, I really wanted to take Georgiev for him to be our starting goaltender, but he's only an 83, and then looking at Drew, he can also play wing, so I had to pick him. While our offense and defense were good, our goaltending was abysmal, so Aiden Hill being here was a miracle for us. I don't want to bore you just showing 10 minutes of the draft, so here are some other picks that I made throughout. From now on, I'm only going to be talking about difficult picks that I had to make, and TJ Oshie here at O, I couldn't find an O forever, so this was a grace from God. And finally, after scrolling for what seemed like a decade trying to find a Q, I finally found Joel Quenneville, no, not the coach, an actual player. I didn't really feel like showing the rest of the draft as this video would be like an hour long, plus my voice would die. But I did want to inform you that after I picked my last player, which is Z, that'll give us 26 players on the roster, obviously. So then that means I would have to sim the rest of the draft. I promise I did not pick the other players because I did not want to add anybody else good. So here is what the AI did. So here is what the team looks like. Clearly, you can see after 793, I did not pick any more players according to the alphabet. And also, I know I'm going to get flamed in the comments, but you can see Johnny Taves at 616. There was no X before W. I'm not sure what I was doing. But nonetheless, here is what the squad looks like. I think we're actually pretty good. When you're looking at the top line, I think it's good. Second line, meh. And as you work your way down through the order and get to the 4th line, there can be some question marks raised. But hopefully that'll be fixed throughout trading. And as we move on to our defense, they're actually really good, especially our left side of the puck. And of course, the moment you've been waiting for, goaltending, we got Hill and Quap rocking the net between the pipes. And also, now that the draft is over, I think it is a good time to mention that as for trading, I have to be trading for an A, then go to B, then C. It can't just be for whoever I want. So you thought it ended there? No, it still continues. In addition to that, it does not apply to our own team. I don't have to look for an A, so Aho to trade him. I can trade whoever I want. And it does not apply to picks, so this trade could be our first trade, but instead, Montreal is going to be over the cap, so we're going to have to look for an LA 6th. And with that, this would actually end up being our first trade of the episode. I just did this to be able to clear cap space and work around other players. And sometimes you just can't find anybody with a certain letter that you particularly want, so you just have to trade for this bottom feeder NHLer, and that's what I did with Amadio. And finally, the last thing to mention when it comes to trading is I can only trade and acquire picks from this current year of 2024. That prevents me from using a first-round pick in like 2028 to get a stud player. And as you can see, I was browsing around for a B to pick up, and Oliver Bjorkstrand was the best player available that I thought would be good for our team, and I needed to trade some D depth away, so Josh Manson, see you for Oliver Bjorkstrand. Next, as you can see, Sidney Crosby was a target for me, but every trade that I sent got rejected, so I just moved on. I ended up not being able to find anybody with C, so I just traded for Dylan Colligan and gave up 2 7s. Next was I do not believe that Hill is the guy to take us to a cup. I'm going to be acquiring Demko, Matejchuk, and a second from the Blues in exchange for Quap, Boyko, a first in 2024, and Suter. A couple minutes after I made that trade, I realized I was cheating by getting Matejchuk, so I'm going to be trading away for a 7th. I know we obviously lost that deal, but it was what I had to do considering that was unfair getting him in the first place. And as you can see, I'm trying to get Jake Evans, but Buffalo values him way too high, so I'm just going to throw these 2 guys in, and that's going to be the deal breaker. And the last thing that I'm going to do is just by passing the letter F by picking up Forder, because I didn't see anybody that I really wanted. As far as simming goes, I'm going to be going the first month of the season, and we start off with a win, and then we're going to drop our next 2. At the 1 month break, we're 7-2, now 7-3, but that's way better than I thought. We have now reached December 1st and have played 21 games. We are sitting with a record of 12-8-1, so maybe it's time to make some moves. And also, I don't think I specified at all that this is just a 1-year challenge. I'm only going to be winning the cup this year, and if we don't, then challenge failed. I ended up not trading for anybody, so now we're sitting with a record of 20-12-2, which is good for second in our division, but our division is extremely tight. Ironically, our rivals in Montreal actually knew that we were doing this challenge, so they offered us a G and Brendan Gallagher, and honestly, it doesn't look terrible, so I'm just going to be doing it. Now we have pulled up at the deadline, and we were doing really good until we lost our last 6, so hopefully some moves in the deadline will be able to improve our team a bit. We're only 3 games over 500 and 4th in our division, and we don't have the wildcard spot, so that's not good. Our forwards actually look rather good, our top 6 especially, but as you go down through our lineup, it's not great. And then our defense has a lot of injuries, so apparently Jake Evans is playing now. And the reason why that is because Ekholm and Carlson are both out, so that's a huge blow to our defense core. Because EA does not tell you how long a player is out for, except for that one time where it tells you that he's injured, I don't know how long those 2 guys are out for, so I'm going to be going for some defense help and Noah Hannafin. I sent over Iafallo in that trade, and now I want him back, so I'm going to be throwing Gus Nyquist and a couple other picks for him. As you can see by the value, Vancouver totally fleeced us, but I don't care. I'm trying to win the cup this year. For Jay, we're going to be picking up Zach Jones for a 6th. The number 1 need we need on the team right now is a bottom 6 left D because Jake Evans is playing, and I found Dmitry Kulikov, who is also a K, and he fits all the criteria. Next, I really needed an L, so we're going to be sending Jan Ruda away for Lacombe. We have reached the deadline, and I see Joe Pavelski's available, so I'm going to do anything I can to get him. However, I can't just go straight to it as M, N, and O are standing in between me and him. And also, I'm in a time constraint because anyone else could go out and get him at any time, and this checks off M. Around like 30 minutes later, I'm going to be getting a N, so that's clutch. Next for O, and then moving on to Pavelski, I'm going to be trying to get Logan O'Connor because he also fits a need for the team in right wings. And with that, the move that I'm going to be making is him and a 3rd for another random guy that I haven't heard of, and Jonathan Toews. So for some reason, NHL 24 does not do 3-team trades, so I'm going to have to be sending over Scott Laughton to Carolina for 2 seconds, because now Boston will be cap compliant to be able to trade Joe Pavelski. What I said probably just didn't make much sense, but basically I was trying to trade Scott Laughton and they couldn't do it just because of the cap problems, so instead I'm going to have to be giving away 2 seconds that I traded Scott Laughton to Carolina for, so it's basically the same thing. So as you can see, the deal was Pavelski, and I had to throw Hannafin in there and a couple other picks. I felt like we really didn't need Hannafin anymore, considering that he was just a rental until our good D came back. And after that big move, I'm kind of worn out of now making trades, and I feel like our team's good enough to go into the postseason and possibly win the Stanley Cup, so I'm going to be getting out of the deadline. Here is what the final product looks like. You will not be seeing me make any more acquisitions, including trades, drafts, or waiver claims. The bottom line is not looking so hot, but our top line is pretty good. And as of right now, our defense is looking brutal, but when our guys come back, they'll actually be good. There is now just 10 games to go in the season, and we're 4th in our division without a wildcard spot, so we need to pick up the pace. As of now, we're only 6 games over 500, and we're going to go up against a really good Buffalo team, so let's get a win here, boys. And then we've got Tampa after that, who is also just ahead of us in the division. And against Buffalo, what did we do? We actually won 6-1. And then against Florida, we are going to be losing 3-2 in a shootout, and now it's Tampa. The Bolts are 1 point behind us in the standings, so this will be a great win, and we get absolutely demolished 7-2. After the Lightning is Montreal, who is only 4 points ahead of us, so it would be great to win this, and we do 2-1 in overtime. After that, Pittsburgh is also ahead of us, and we're going to play them at home. Let's see if we can take them down. We do as well, 6-5. And then next, we got New Jersey twice. We will lose Matthew Barzal. That's just awesome. And here is the New Jersey games, one on the road, one at home. We win the road one, so hopefully this will set us up for a good spot. We are now third in our division, and which puts us in a playoff spot, so I'm not complaining. Right now, we're set to go against the Habs, and we lose 3-2 at home against New Jersey. I mean, New Jersey wasn't terrible, so that's not a bad loss. So at least we got a point. Next, we've got Detroit, who is under 500. This has to be a win, and we lose 4-1 at home. That is just brutal. That loss right there will move us into the last wild card position. We do have 2 games left, one against Florida, one against Tampa. So hopefully that Tampa game we can move up to third and then play the Habs rather than playing the Sabres. And here it is, the entire season on the line. We beat Florida 2-1, and that'll clinch us a playoff spot and move us up into third. And now Tampa, we're just playing to see who we will play in the postseason. So this would be a very nice win to get. Rather than playing the best team in our conference, we will be able to play the Habs, and Matteo is gone. That's just awesome. And we lose 2-1, of course, because why would we win that game? That'll wrap up our season. At least we made the playoffs, but we made it as a wildcard team, and I believe the last wildcard team was Buffalo was the best team in our conference. So now we have a tough time as we don't have home ice advantage, and we play the hardest team in our conference. I really wanted to make the postseason because I had to make this video interesting somehow, but we gotta get past the first round. I know we're the Leafs, but it would be so devastating to get eliminated in the first round. I mean, this video would just seem like such a failure, and we actually win the first game 2-1. Let's go. What I really wanted to do was split on the road, so even a loss here, yeah, it's fine. 4-2. That's not the end of the world, but now going back home, we lose 2-0 and win 3-2. So Game 5, series tied. Let's go. We are now back in Buffalo, and it's just a best of 3 at this point, and we lose 4-1. Unbelievable. Now it is do or die, so I'm going to be hopping into this one and watching it in real time. Thankfully, we are home, so we've got Leaf Nation behind us, and after the first period, we are up 2-0. Let's go. And after the second, we are going to be up still 2-0. And this last period, I'm going to be watching it minute by minute. And also, in case we do lose in the series, I'm going to just say, don't look at how much time's left. Oh, we score. Paling, it's 3-0, so we probably won't lose this game. But I'm just going to say, do not look how much time's left in the video. That'll ruin all the fun. Just watch. And because it's 3-0, I'm going to be simming the rest of the game. And Thatcher Demko gets a 28 save shutout in the biggest game of his life. And here we are, ladies and gents, Game 7. After the first, it is tied 0-0. And then after the second, it is tied 1-1 apiece. So going into the third, we are all tied up. Like the last time, I'm going to be simming the last period minute by minute, hoping that the Leafs do not lose in Game 7 like every single year, get eliminated in the first round. But I actually feel pretty good. As the game windows down here, no one has scored, not a lot of shots taken, a rather boring Game 7. This will now put us in a whoever scores next wins situation, and I'm debating to sim it minute by minute or hop in, or even just sim the entire period, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not waiting. Here it is, the game on the line. Come on, how do we lose again, bro? Every single year the Leafs lose in the first round, and this is no different. Well, the only positives that came out of this is now we know NHL 24 is realistic. I just wasted about 5 hours doing this challenge for it to fail. Thank you for watching and subscribe.